letter carriers say they've been working for more than 500 days without a contract, and today they made their voices heard on the streets of
USPS failed to protect Eugene Gates and others.
Can't take it no more!
Mail carrier robbed at gunpoint.
Yes, are targeting these mail carriers for their universal keys.
Nearly 1,200 reported attacks and other assaults on postal workers just last year alone.
The Next Generation Carriers and guests are individual union members speaking in a personal capacity, and they do not represent the views of the NALC, the United States Postal Service, or any other entity that is spoken on this program. If you enjoy our podcast, please subscribe to our monthly email newsletter. Go to nextgenerationcarriers.com/email. Fill in your name and email, click subscribe. Also, if you would like to get in contact with Next Generation Carriers podcast, send us an email at nextgenerationcarriers@gmail.com. I also want to update everyone on our subscribers and our viewers. Corey Walton just did his from A to Arbitration, and it has like 1 million views. We're not up there yet. But
Almost.
For Spotify,
just take away a couple zeros, you'll be there.
For Spotify, we have 867 subscribers. Apple, we have 554 subscribers. YouTube, we have 1,049 subscribers. TikTok, we're at 9,300 followers. Facebook, we just cracked 5,000 followers. And our Next Generation Podcast Carriers monthly email newsletter is 1,082 subscribers. We're not up there to 1 million views yet like Corey Walton from our 8-hour operation, but we're getting there. So tonight, my name is John Murphy. I'm a city letter carrier out of Naples, Florida, branch 4716. I'm going to pass this over to Chris.
Hi, I'm Chris Sampieri. I am out of Branch 18 in southeastern Massachusetts. To my virtual right is James Capone, president of Branch 764. I'm just going to start shouting out intros. It's okay.
Well, I don't get to do my intro anymore?
No, we're moving. We got times of the essence. And tonight, our guests tonight, we have Mike, Sarah, and Renee from the Mike Drop Mondays podcast, an excellent podcast, if I do say so myself. Thank you all for being here. First question for all of you. How did you actually start up the podcast? How did you come about doing it? Where's your origin story for this?
That's a good question. Sarah, you remember, or who talked about this first? I don't even remember.
Oh, sorry, I was trying to unmute myself. Mike, you called me up like with an idea of wanting to put yourself out there a bit more to, answer questions directly, from the people yourself, and just introducing who you are to people who may not, know you and stuff like that. And then I roped in Sarah.
Got you. And then we had to figure out like what kind of show we wanted to do. And I remember we were kind of going over, you can have like a live show where you take questions. You can have like a recorded show. You can have like me talking, to people, like a monologue or whatever, kind of like a podcast, like a normal podcast. Interview shows. You can have like group discussions. So we kind of figured like we would try to do all that stuff. We would like every week would be different, and then we kind of went from there. But I think Sarah, you figured out most of the technical stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't. Sarah,
wait,
We can't hear you.
You're not muted, but we can't hear you. Is your microphone plugged in?
Uh-oh.
It might be if you check Zoom, the audio settings on your Zoom.
Just when I say she
bottom
figured
left.
out the technical parts of the show.
I know. I like.
Maybe not.
Good. You're as good as me. All right. Awesome. I'm the tech guy. That's why we started 10 minutes late, because I'm the tech guy. So God help us.
At some point, they got me all this equipment. I got one of those ring lights. You guys use the ring light?
Oh yeah, we're nothing but the finest for our show. We really like to have it really spiffy here, but yeah. Also, Mike, I'm so happy. I always text people annoyingly about getting good microphones. Mike, what is this mic? Now that is a microphone. I like you finally. What an investment. That is a beautiful mic. Look at that.
I've had this thing for like 2 months, but I couldn't figure out how to use it. So it's got like two settings in the back. One of it's like a plug, and the other one is supposed to go to a headset. But you know, they didn't buy me a headset, so I just had the microphone, and I didn't have the headset, so it really didn't work. Like it wouldn't. I couldn't hear shit. Like it wouldn't work. So finally, we got a headset, and actually Tyrone is here with me. You can't see him; he's behind the camera, but. Tyrone is kind of he makes all the purchases or whatever. So he got me this like, you know, this cool headset. So we finally used the headset, and it sounds better with the mic and the headset and all of that stuff. The AirPods are the worst, man. The AirPods, they
Don't
work
use 'em.
and then
Yep.
they just go out, and I hate them fucking AirPods.
I do want to mention it is great how it seems like Mike's always somewhere interesting. There's the
Well, that was the other thing we were figuring out because
you were in a bathroom in an
bathroom one
airport.
time. It was, yeah,
well, my
that's it.
schedule is crazy. Like I'm all over the place, right? So we're like, how do we like, you know, do the show? So like tonight, I'm at we're in the Knights of Columbus because I had to do an installation for a branch meeting that, you know, they have their meetings at the Knights of Columbus, and so I went to the bartender. I'm like, hey, you guys got a room anywhere in this place? And so he took us upstairs to this room here, which is like their storage room or something. And it is hot up here. It is hot, man.
Yep.
But
you are glistening quite well. So I can
If we can do a running gag of where is Mike now and just put him in different spots, like next week's an alleyway behind a bar or something, and just move him around and see what the background is this time.
so like you guys, there was some talk of like having like some type of background or like
Yeah.
blurring the background or
Yep.
something. And
Yep.
we kind of decided, I don't know if Sarah can unmute, but we kind of had a discussion that, hey, it's better just to let the
It's you
background be
more.
with
It
the
shows you more.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's a
Sarah, is your audio
personality.
working? Is it? No.
She still can't talk. She's unmuted, but she
I know. Yeah.
that's funny.
This is
Check your. Oh,
Oh, I can
we
hear
got
you.
you.
okay.
Hey!
It doesn't
All
want
right.
to use my microphone. It wants to use the camera. That's fine.
All right. Yep.
Yeah, what
Okay.
did we figure out about the background, Sarah?
I've just been using like a template I just created. I don't know.
Let's see it. You got it on you? I mean, this is the time to premiere. I mean, this is the next gen Carrier podcast premiere. If you want to show it here, you know, we're guaranteeing you 5 more likes minimum for your show if you really premiered here.
I mean, the problem is that like, so Mike, you know, is on his iPad, so like he can't like use a virtual background on it because the iPad limits your like accessibility of the background. Yeah.
All right. Well, that'll be all right.
Oh, versus
folks.
like a computer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Ah.
All right. So.
But yeah,
okay,
I
that's
gotta
a
be
teaser.
mobile. I gotta be mobile. So
Yeah.
you know, it is what it is.
I have a question. Sarah and Renee, you guys both in the same branches, and how long have you guys carried for?
Do you want to
Should
go
go
first,
first.
Renee? You want me to go first?
Go.
Okay.
And what does Renee look like?
She's about 5'7",
Yeah, correct.
maybe about 115 pounds.
No.
Let's not talk about it's the current Renee versus the T-Reap Renee. Two different.
Oh,
two
no,
different-
no.
Wow.
Oh,
wow.
that's not nice,
Wow.
That T-Reap was rough.
So I started as a CCA in 2016. So like I've been carrying ever since then. Just since last November, I've been on a detail for Carrier Academy, facilitating Carrier Academy. And then I was on the Tyreep team for like 6 months before that too.
Renee, your background?
Oh, okay, my go. I started as a CCA in 2019, carrying, and shortly after that, I got involved, I guess, like with the union as an alternate steward, and then I got pulled by Mike to be on the tie wrap team there for almost, I
idea.
think that was like almost like 2 years. Well, yeah, that's what you want to call it. And then after that, I went from being alternate to actual steward, and then I was trustee with Branch 825, and now I'm one of the vice presidents with Branch 825.
Oh, nice. All right. question for Sarah and Renee on this too. If you had to pick on maybe what is your favorite thing about working with Mike? I mean, it's nice to have an MBA to work with. You know, I don't have a relationship with my MBA, but is it? I mean, have you been enjoying? I mean, obviously you want to probably say something nice, but you don't have to. But if you want to say, I mean, what's it been like? I mean, how long? I mean, you guys have a great show. I do enjoy listening to it. But what are some of the things you do like about being on a podcast with Mike?
Uh,
Um,
oh, yeah, you go ahead.
I I like some of the guests he brings on a lot. He has like a lot of connections and you don't even like realize it. But I also just really like that it seems like Mike doesn't really know technology that well. So like it's always really funny to like because Renee and I are younger than Mike, and so we're more proficient with that kind of stuff. Um,
All right, so he's your Capone. Okay, that's good. All right, that's awesome.
Uh,
Uh,
but when you said working with him, so I'll say like I guess with the podcast, I like giving Mike all my criticism at the end with how I think that the show went. And I like the fact that he actually listens to like what we're saying, like some of the ideas that we're giving him and stuff like that. The thing that I wish that he would change is when he's name dropping people like who he wants on the podcast next, he just drops the name and expect us to, okay, well, what do we do with this person? When do you want them on? And yeah, that's one of my dislikes there, Mike.
Well, that's, I'm hoping you guys can help me out with that. I don't know everyone's schedule, but, call them up, see when they're available, Yeah, the logistics of the show is a challenge because there's three of us, and just like you guys, there's three of you, and it's like everyone's got different schedules. Who's available this time, and then you have guests and you have people that are coming on, and when are they available? And it's like, do I know them? And sometimes like I'll send the information to Sarah and Renee, like here's this person, here's their phone number, and then Sarah will be like, this person didn't call me back or didn't text me back, and then I'll call them or I'll text them and they'll respond right away because they know me. They have my number in their phone or whatever. So then I'm like, all right, I gotta reach out to them. But I try to like, because I'm all over the place. I try to minimize some of the like details of the show, and plus, they're better at it. They're better at lining up the time slots. If like for instance, if Sarah, if you guys have to have a conversation with a guest about like what is their Wi-Fi connection or what does it look like or what are you going to talk to them about? How much time do they need? I mean, that's a conversation that really works better between you guys and the guest versus me, because I'm gonna be like, I don't know, just come on whenever, that kind of thing. So anyway, we're still working through a lot of those things, and as Renee says, she'll let me know. Both of them will let me know when something's not right. When I'm not doing something right, they'll let me know. I appreciate that.
A little secret, Mike. What I do is Murphy just does the schedule. He just tells me where to be and when. It's much easier. Everything. He schedules everything.
Then I just pass it over to Chris, and then Chris does it. It's like it's literally the Three Stooges on this podcast. I feel bad for anyone that doesn't pay attention to this podcast. It's been around since what, January? We're like 8 months into it, and we still have no idea how to actually do a podcast. Which I guess is a good transition because, as Mike Caref is the business agent, how many business agents are there? 15, 14 of them?
15, yeah.
Yeah, so you're the only one that has a podcast, and it costs a Zoom account and a Podbean account, which is like $20 a month. It would be crazy if other business agents get jealous and start doing their own podcasting. That'd be great.
It'd be awesome.
I
mean, especially some of the aspects of it where you take questions from the members and stuff like that. I mean, it's like you can, even in the Constitution, it talks about the business agent holding rap sessions, right? Why not a virtual rap session? You know what I mean? Why not have a rap session in some type of format like this where you would limit it to the members in your region and they can come on and ask questions. You can give them information. I mean, that's not bad at all. I do this as a campaign thing. Maybe I should do a separate podcast as, the business agent for the people in Region 3. I mean, that's not a bad idea.
I know I would listen to that.
No, we wouldn't let you in. You know, Region 9.
Oh, okay.
Even if you were in the region, it wouldn't matter. But you know.
All right. So this goes out to Renee and Sarah. So I'm down here in Florida. I'm not part of your region, but I've had a business agent of the NALC tell me that Caref is a bull in a china shop. What do you have to say to that? Is that true, or is Caref really a legit business agent?
Okay,
I
so
don't think
when,
so, but go
yeah,
ahead.
no, yeah, when you say bull in a china, can you like what exactly do you mean when you're saying bull in a
Like, do you
china
think he's
shop?
careless?
That's what a business agent told me, is that he's a bull in a china shop and that he's dangerous in that way. He's not careful of what's going on.
I don't
That's
think
that's the
so.
impression I
Yeah.
got.
He's
Mm,
very like meticulous and like calculated, and like he's got an idea for something, even if he's not telling you what that idea is yet, but at some point like you're going to figure out what idea he's like trying to work through and get to. Um yeah.
So he wouldn't just destroy the entire organization of the NALC if he gets from a business agent to a president
Absolutely
position.
not.
He's not
no,
paying
yeah.
he's not paying you guys to say any of this.
No, he's not. We do not get paid.
Okay, so you guys are
No,
just
no. Well,
volunteers.
he didn't pay you, Sarah? No, I'm just kidding.
You're getting paid?
Nobody gets paid for nothing around here in the whole union.
I mean, I would say that's almost a compliment. I mean, if it's like the bureaucracy needs a little like if the China shop is the status quo, that needs a bull in there. Like,
Yeah.
things need to change desperately. So I think
My-
I'd say that's a good thing. For certain people, they don't want things to change. They like things at 1.3%, but you know,
I would
think
say the
that's
table one out of touch status quo people might be in a China shop. I'm over here at Goodwill. So you could destroy that China shop all you want. We need to step it up and become something. So
I tell you one thing, John. One thing I've never. I don't care how we've always done things. I don't care, you know, if it's the norm or what you're supposed to do or whatever. I don't care about none of that. I just care like what direction we're going in, what we've accomplished, like what works. And so I'm outside of the lines on a lot of things. And some people draw to what I think is incorrect conclusion that I'm just reckless. But I mean, I don't think I'm reckless at all. I've been doing this for a lot of years, and you know, I think if I was reckless, you would see different results, and that's just not been the case. But anyway.
and then for anyone that's listening that has been paying attention, as we transition, let's talk about the contract, because a couple of years ago the contract expired and we went into contract negotiations, and the ragtag crew of people called Build a Fighting NALC, which is a reform movement, came out and said, "Hey, we need open bargaining." And almost the entire establishment of the NALC national and regions, right? They were like, "This is dangerous. This is going to
You can't do that.
You can't do that."
Congress could get involved.
So like the status quo, the current establishment of the NALC fought this. And Mike Caref, as a business agent, came out in day one with Build a Fighting NALC and was like, "We need open bargaining. We actually have to be inside this. Like, we don't know what we're actually doing." So Mike Caref from the beginning was out there supporting us. And he was inside the Zoom meetings of Build a Fighting NALC. He was on Corey's podcast. And here we have other business agents telling me, "Oh, Mike Caref is not trustworthy," and stuff like that. And it's like, I don't know. I'm going to have to say that Mike Caref and James Henry are the only ones that I know so far came out against this contract, while everyone else is telling us to remain silent and trust the status quo. So anyone that's new, because I have a coworker who's a CCA, and he's like, "Oh, why? What happened to the last contract?" Caref, do you want to kind of do a 2-minute summary on why Renfroe needs to get voted out on just the contract negotiations alone?
Yeah, so we started in February 22nd, I think, of 2023. And at the time, we had just worked through the pandemic. We didn't miss a day. We didn't get any hazard pay. The non-career classification is decimating the letter carrier craft. The Postal Reorganization Act says this should be a career job. The retention rate is really bad. The grievance process doesn't work. The pay, because of the great inflation, the pays weren't keeping up with the rate of inflation. And so there's supposed to be a 90-day bargaining period. And then after that, you're supposed to go to arbitration if you don't have a resolution. We went through the 90-day period. There's supposed to be a cooling off period. Then you can go to arbitration thereafter. So in the summer of 2023, we could have been putting our case in front of an arbitrator. Instead, we wasted all the leverage that we had, and we let the situation play out and play out and play out. And we were getting these, phony updates that really didn't say anything. And you don't even know when they're having meetings. You don't even know what's on the table. Like, you don't know nothing other than we still don't have a contract. And then finally we get the tentative agreement October the 18th, I think it was, of 2024. And collectively, every single letter carrier was like, what? It was so underwhelming. You had waited all this time. You're thinking, oh, this is going to be some really good stuff, and it was just very underwhelming. We voted the thing down by a 2-1 margin. And then President Renfroe ended up implementing basically the same exact terms that he had agreed to in the tentative agreement, which to me was the greatest betrayal. No matter how you felt about the tentative agreement, obviously a third of the members actually did vote for it. And, maybe other people said, I'll vote against it. I'll vote for it. I mean, that's a legitimate kind of thought or discussion. But once the members voted it down, you're the president of the union. You represent us. You need to implement what the members of the union say. And when the members of the union say they don't want it, you need to fight for something else. And we entered into this agreement where we would mediate the situation, but we still had the right to take it, to argue our case in front of that mediator/arbitrator, but we decided to just accept the outcome of the mediation, which was basically the same terms that were in the TA. We decided not to take our case to arbitration. We never put on a case. We never put on presentation. We never put on witnesses. We never made our case for all of the things that we need in a new contract. And so that was done in March 21st of this year. And we'll do it again next year. That's the real thing that's got everyone kind of bothered and concerned, is that we're going to start new contract negotiations February of 2026.
That's less than 300 days away. It's like 278 days away.
It's like right around the corner, man.
Yeah.
And we don't have a convention. Normally we'll have the convention is the supreme body of the NALC. The convention sets the bargaining goals for the union. Last time when we met in Boston at the 2024 convention, we didn't have a contract. It really wasn't nothing to talk about. Now we have a contract, and people have all types of opinions about the terms of the contract. You want to prepare for the 2026 contract, but we're going to do that. We're going to start negotiations in February, and we won't convene again officially until August of 2026 in Los Angeles. And for me, that's a big problem as well.
All right. And then just for the folks that are not actually paying attention and are still pretty new. So that was what happened before. Now, currently what happened is there are members on the executive council that have lost their privileges and their responsibilities and duties. Am I correct?
Yeah, I don't know. It's, if you look in the Constitution, the main, long list of duties would go to the president. Obviously has so much authority and power within the union. That's like you really got to be careful who you vote for president. And then you have the executive vice president, a lot of duties there too. And then you have the secretary treasurer, pretty clear what their duties are. Almost everyone else is like duties as prescribed by the president, kind of thing. Not really clear on what exactly their duties are. And so, President Renfroe as the president has been kind of moving that stuff around, taking away these duties, giving these duties to somebody else. But mainly, I think our number one concern is that the people that we elected as officers of the union are not being given the level of responsibility that should come with an elected officer, an executive officer of the union. These are the people we voted for. And instead, those responsibilities are being given to staffers who work on President Renfroe's staff, who we're paying apart from the executive officers that obviously pay their salary based on the Constitution. We're also paying all these staffers who President Renfroe is giving the responsibilities to. And, that's kind of an extra money, but also it's not the person that we elected. And those are the people that are getting the responsibilities for the contractual stuff and the implementation and all this other stuff. So that's a big concern. I don't know the exact details because you would have to have that person on. Like you'd have to ask, Mac or James or Chris Jackson or even Paul Barner or Dan Toth. You'd have to ask them, what were your duties and what are your duties now? And, I don't really know exactly what all of those duties were and are now and have been and all that other stuff. So,
But
All
are there
right, so when
normal duties that normally go with the position, i.e., like the arbitrator, the national arbitrator, is usually goes to this position. This person is usually doing these things, and those things have been changed, or is it something that normally gets switched around often?
both, but to the level that it's happening now, like I say, especially to the level that the duties have been ascribed to staff members that are not elected and they're not members of the executive council, that has been like unprecedented. That, you know, the amount of that that's happening is crazy. You know, President Orlando, he would, you know, have, like, for example, the director of retired members is over the OWCP aspect of regional workmen's compensation assistance. And it's like, why the director of retired members? Well, because Ron Watson used to be the director of retired members, and that was his specialty. He was really good at that. So, you know, President Orlando gave him those duties. And then when Dan Toth became the director of retired members, he took on those duties as well. So sometimes it just happens to be that, or sometimes there's a reason why that particular position has those duties. I mean, one thing, you look at director of city delivery. I mean, why is the director of city delivery not over, like, for example, a joint route process? We had the T-REAP process, and you're looking for the director of city delivery, and he's not involved in the process at all. And, you know, he probably would have been a much better representative for us in that process, like I said, than the way that President Renfroe decides to do things, which is he only puts people in charge that are 100% loyal to him and not elected representatives of this union by the 300,000 members of the union. And I don't think that's right.
all right, so
Can I
let me
ask
get
one
this.
more? Has this issue been mentioned during executive council meetings? Has there been anybody who has said, hey, like, why is this duty being taken away? Or why is this duty being taken away from this person?
A little bit, but not much, because honestly, the president has that authority. I mean, you look in the Constitution, the president has that authority. So, I mean, obviously, the president knows how that individual feels, that they don't agree with that. But, you know, you really, I mean, what are you going to do other than elect another president next time? Because the president has that authority.
All right, as Capone literally just said the same thing as I was just going to ask. So to summarize this all up for people like me who are exhausted, it's 9:37 p.m. I just worked 10 hours. I'm burnt out. I'm step D, table 2. So we are literally paying these people $200,000 a year out of our union dues. And Brian Renfroe, the president of the NALC, has stripped some of their duties from various amounts of people up on the executive council, is what we're saying.
That's correct. Yeah, that's correct.
Meanwhile, the most we could get is 1.3%. And here we have 1.3% of our union dues getting pissed away because this dude at the top is a megalomaniac. If you go against him, it sounds like he just goes against you. And my philosophy is an injury to one is an injury to all. So this dude Renfroe, our president, needs to get voted out. And if anyone is listening that doesn't understand the amount of power he has when it comes to re-elections, he has total control of the social media. He has total control of the postal record. He has total control to tour the country and go to all these rap sessions, state conventions, and other meetings. Whereas people like James Henry with the concerned letter carriers and Mike Caref have to pay out of pocket to travel, and they have to fundraise. They don't get to have a blank space on social media. They do not get a blank space in the postal record to campaign. They cannot just go around to rap sessions or state conventions to cheerlead. So if anyone is listening and you're tired of this bullshit and you want to turn this career back into a career, it starts with our union. And one of the most impactful things we could do is have our voices heard. And if anyone wants to get active, Mike Caref is here. Can you plug your website on how do people could sign up to help get your name out there so we could actually vote Brian Renfroe out of office next November?
Yeah, so everything with us is Caref for Prez, CAREF for PREZ. The website is carefforprez.org. You can see like the whole platform, very extensive. Right now we're running a nationwide raffle. You can buy the raffle tickets there. You can request, we'll mail you out the physical raffle tickets. You can pass them around your station, see who's interested. We're doing fundraising, but at the same time, we're, getting the word out there, getting the name recognition. We have case magnets, with the Care for Prez logo. The people that are selling the raffle tickets, they can win prizes like these caps and other stuff. You can also there's a place on the website. You say, hey, I want to volunteer. I want to help out the campaign, which could be just putting information up on the bulletin board, getting information out to your coworkers, that kind of thing. We really got us, we have a year between now and when the election will be, and we want to spend that time making sure that letter carriers are aware that there's going to be election. That's the first step. Who the candidates are. That's the second step. And then they can do their research, and they can, because the other thing I'm doing, and there's a whole tab on the website, the Kick the Tires tour, because I'm going all around the country. I'll go to any branch. I'll go to any picnic, any meeting or whatever, talk to the members, take any questions that you guys have, so that you can fully vet me as a candidate and make a good decision in 2026, because that decision for president is by far your most important decision you're going to make as a union in 2026. The president is, I don't want to say is everything, because we're all members of the union, but the president holds a lot of sway in everything that happens with the National Association of Letter Carriers. So we got time. Let's do our due diligence and get the word out. That's the first thing. And then we'll see who the members of this union want to be their president in 2026. If you guys want me, I'm ready, willing, and able. I'm available. If you guys want somebody else, you're not hurting my feelings at all.
Question I have too, and this is from the organizing background, where that's my thing. And this was something someone told me, because I keep meaning to make these, but I miss it because it's on a Sunday after I do stuff. But recently you came to the Bill Defining NALC study group, which was nice to see a candidate show up to that. It's one thing I'm always big on is promoting education amongst people, knowing our labor history. It's so missing from our union. It's not really taught at all. I think when I got hired, we watched like a 5-minute video on the 1970 postal strike, but other than that, I've never heard it brought up in a meaningful way. But in one of the meetings that you did mention, organizing Amazon, which I think is a great idea. Now, you and I think we both know the thing, but a lot of people may say, well, why does that matter to me? Why I work at the post office. Why is that important? So in your own words, why do you think it's important that we organize Amazon and FedEx for that reason? Why do you think?
Yeah, and Amazon's probably more important than FedEx, but both of them, would definitely help us. Amazon now says on their website, I couldn't verify this, but they say they have 390,000 delivery drivers. They're building a delivery network where the Postal Service, once was the delivery mechanism for America. If Amazon becomes the delivery mechanism for America, and they're able to pay people, lousy wages, and it's not a career, where we have it codified in the Postal Reorganization Act of 1970 that this is going to be a career job, that our pay and benefits are going to be comparable to those in the private sector, the economy of the United States. You get a job with Amazon, for the workers that work there, for the American people, the service is going to suck because they don't have a universal service mandate like we do. But for the people that work there, they're expendable. They're literally, it's not a career. They can be thrown away. So going there and organizing that workforce for it to be a good, solid, middle-class career job, it really makes it better for us because we have that comparability standard, but also it makes it so that Amazon can't so easily build their network and poach the future delivery for America and take that from the Postal Service, because we're allowing them to do it on the cheap. Make them pay market wages, make them treat their employees, decently. And it's also, just the more people that are in unions and the more, more we build the union movement, that's going to help all of us. And right now there's this big chunk of the working class that is not unionized. And we have $400 million in the bank. I remember if you go back and look at Fred Rolando's speech when he was installed as our president in 2018, you can go back and look at it. He talked about making it a priority of this union that we organize Amazon delivery drivers or Amazon workers. I don't know if we said delivery drivers specifically, and we haven't done it. We have not taken those steps. I remember talking to Fred and say, hey man, let's just put aside $1 million. We got 400 million, whatever. Let's put aside $1 million, right? Hire some people, start, figuring out what we can do, start getting involved in some organizing campaigns and see where it leads. I mean, we do organizing. Look at how well we organize within our craft. We're an open shop, yet we're like well over 90% organized. We're a good union. We're a strong union. And I think we can take that message to Amazon delivery drivers and make them our brothers and sisters, or get them in another union, whatever. But I think we can have a big effect on that. And I think that's something we should focus on as a union. And it is in my platform. If you look at the platform for president, it is in there.
One of the things,
Awesome.
I'll untie this in because we have Joe. He's a CCA. I believe he's the one in my office. His audio and video doesn't work, but he put, how do you organize? How do you envision to organize Amazon workers? For 20 years now, everyone's been, we're going to organize Amazon, and there's
I think so. I was in Bessemer, Alabama. The NALC actually sent me down there because I was kind of interested in it. There was about 4 or 5 of us that were involved, from the NALC. Most of the people lived there, but they actually sent me from Chicago. I was going down there to stay in Birmingham and organize that campaign. So I got a taste for how it goes. I think that if we wanted, I think we would focus on delivery drivers because that's who we know. That's what we know. And that campaign was like the factory, the fulfillment center. I think we should focus on delivery drivers, and I think we should focus on a major metropolitan area that has a strong union background. New York, Chicago, LA. There's a few cities. You pick one, and Amazon has these, their delivery companies are like private delivery companies that work for Amazon. I think you got to open up, let's say there's 15 of them in the Chicago area. We open up an organizing campaign with all 15 of those companies at the same time. And we have our people out there, letter carriers, after work, on their NS days, before work, going out there, meeting these people, talking to them, leafleting them, making connections, doing the whole organizing thing, but not as professional organizers, but as fellow delivery drivers that have a good union and have a good union contract, and we can show them what a career, looks like. I think that would have some effect. And I don't know, let's see, right? I couldn't guarantee you what the outcome would be, but I think it's worth it for us to find out.
If you were
I got Josh. Just wanted Josh is are you here, Josh? Because Josh
I'm
wanted
here.
to tag in on this. Oh, hey, Josh. Yeah,
I wanted to tag in on this. I think in general, I think one of the things that we're missing too is we should come up with a dialogue or a speech. I know for me, my wife orders from Amazon a lot, and every time we have an Amazon driver come up, I always ask, "Oh, have you heard about the Teamsters?" Because I follow the Teamsters trying to get in on the Amazon stuff. We need to have like a dialogue or a speech or something so we can kind of invite them into our realm, because a lot of them are very unaware of what's going on. Oh, Amazon never told me anything about that. Well, no, duh. Amazon's not going to tell you anything about that. It's like people, when we go and do Sundays, they say, "Oh, did you talk to management first?" Well, management doesn't want you to know the contract, because when they violate it, they'll have no idea, So I don't know if that's one of the things that you're thinking about, is putting like a dialogue out there. So if you do order Amazon and you do come across this, how to preach bringing them into the fold with us.
Yeah, that's that's at a bare minimum. We could do stuff like that. You can have like little videos that you can share. There's just all type of things you can do if we enter into that realm. And just keep in mind, you guys, we're a very heavily organized union. Everyone's pretty much part of our union. We have people in every nook and cranny and corner in America, even in, Hawaii and Guam and all of that. And so, when we collectively try to do something, we have a big impact all over the country. I think we undersell ourselves. I think, and Chris, when you were talking about that meeting that the BFN held, that study group, it was about organizing. And that's why I brought up that point. Like, we should be organizers. Like that was what the kind of the pamphlet was about, because I read the thing and I was like, this is saying you guys need to get into the organizing business. That's what I read from it.
I just want to get back with the Amazon. Now, if you become president of the NALC, you're going to be up there on Capitol Hill, and people Next Generation Carriers podcast, and people are like, where's the letter carriers? But let's be honest, letters and flats are dying. We're gonna go towards parcels, so we're gonna be carriers. So my idea, because climate change is real, people could ignore that, but up north, all the northern states are hurting right now with the wildfire smokes, and down here in the south, we're hurting from record heat. So climate change is real. This is a real thing. We cannot deny this anymore as a labor movement. So going forward, if you become president of the NALC and you're up there on Capitol Hill in Congress lobbying for whatever we need, would you put out the demand that we nationalize Amazon and we become monopoly, just like we have stamps, but we become monopoly on parcels?
Yeah, I think that's the direction we have to go in. It's going to be hard, but first of all, let's start with what is our strategy as a union for the future of the Postal Service. Obviously, the value that we provide as a uniform letter carrier in every community, there's a value there. And the post office has always had a cost, universal service obligation that the Postal Service as that entity incurs that cost, which has always been offset by the first class monopoly, right? You get the first class monopoly, nobody else has access to the mailbox. If you wanted to send a letter, there's a minimal charge you have to pay because United States Postal Service has a monopoly on first class letters. So, but that's always been the balance, and that has allowed us to become this great service to the American people that they don't pay for, right? So the only alternative going forward, if you look at it, with revenues falling for the monopolized portion of the business, specifically the letters, as that revenue comes down, how do you replace that? Either you're going to cut service, which would not be in the interest of the American people, or you're going to have to, take money from the taxpayers, which nobody wants to do, or you're going to have to look at something like what you just said, which is that why don't we have a monopoly on spurs? There's going to come a time very soon where people are going to be, or just like you might get 5 or 6 letters every day, you get 5 or 6 spurs every day. Everybody, not just some people, but everybody across America is going to be ordering and getting stuff like that delivered. And so do you want a private company to be able to gouge you? Do you want a private company like Amazon or whoever to pick and choose where they're going to provide that service, where they're going to deliver, where they're not going to deliver? Do you want a private company being forced to make those deliveries in places that are not secure, that don't have an actual mailbox receptacle to receive those items? Or do you want the United States Postal Service to do that, delivered by a uniform letter carrier that you know and you trust, and the rates will be low for everybody? I think we need to push in that direction and come up with a plan and start, getting the Congress people on our side. It's, like I say, it's not going to be easy, but if we just sit back and do nothing, we're gonna have a tough future in front of us.
All right, because I'll end my section with this. Is it true that the arbitration decision or whatever this stipulated award, it mentioned Amazon, right, inside it, or did it mention UPS?
I don't know.
Okay.
It mentioned both of them. The percentage of what Amazon drivers were making more than us, and I believe it was FedEx, but it was definitely Amazon. The percentage, I think it was 13 or 15%. They made more than us starting.
Oh, starting pay, really?
But I'm just ending with we're literally getting compared to Amazon. So this is why it's vital. Whoever gets elected from this point forward needs to have a solid plan on how to break up Amazon, because the NALC and the USPS also uses the AWS internet, which is Amazon. So as we're fighting Amazon, we also have to divest from Amazon. So I'll let Chris and Capone take over.
Yeah. Another question too, political legislation. It's always a big thing for me. And so right now, if you have a life and you don't spend your time reading the NALC legislation priorities over and over like I do and check their views in Congress, there's 3 right now, which is one, HR 70, which is anti-privatization. The other one is protect our letter carriers. That is the goal, to phase out arrow keys. That's the second one. And the third one is HR 1522, which is anybody, if you were a CCA, a casual, a TE, that this would be like military buyback time. You could buy back career time because for me, I was a CCA for 3.5 years. I've lost 3.5 years towards my retirement. I will reach my max salary at 17 years. A PTF who just got hired today will have to wait 13.5. So that's one of the things to correct.
PTF hire would be 12.4, I think.
Oh, is that? Oh, well, good for them.
Because we lost step double A.
Oh, that's right. Okay. All right.
Is
So,
B to P.
which is good. Okay, so that's good.
Yeah,
Good.
it's a little bit
That's
better.
a step in the right direction. Good for them, but for us, like who got
If you're
you know,
hired career though, because if you're hired
Right.
as a CCA, you add 2
I'm
years.
still
to that.
because I'm at a CCA office, so yeah, it's still happening where I am. So right now, I think it's kind of an open secret that the state associations, most of them, don't do very much. Capone and I ran in Massachusetts, and we had some people kind of come up and tell us that, like, yeah, there's not a whole lot that goes on. Other than Washington, NALC Washington telling us to donate $5 a month. We're not told that the rank and file is not organized to put pressure on politicians. If you could change things with the state associations, or maybe the way we do things, how would you try to get more rank and file people to put pressure, like having a rally outside of a senator's office or something? What would you, if you could change things, what would you like to see coming up? If say you get elected, what would you like to change?
I got a lot of comments on this. So first of all, the legislative program that we have right now is way too focused in DC. And I would say I think we do a pretty good job. I don't really have any criticisms of President Renfroe on how he handles himself on Capitol Hill. Our lobbying efforts in DC, I think, are really good. We have good relationships with the people in Washington, DC. But our real strength and our real power comes from the fact that we have probably about 500, if you average it out, 500 to 800 letter carriers, members of our union in every single congressional district, 435 congressional districts in America. And we don't put our people to, we don't put them in action. We don't deploy them, for lack of a better word, out there in these congressional districts, making sure that, hey, these congressmen need to know that either they're with the letter carriers or they're not with the letter carriers. And we're a central part of these communities. If you're not with the letter carriers, you're not with these communities in America. And we should be actively working to vote those people out or support the ones that support us. In other words, you mentioned the Retirement Fairness Act, and the reason it hasn't gotten a lot of play is because it's not popular in Washington, because it would cost money, right? It would force someone to pay that extra money. Like if you pay 4.4% towards your retirement, who pays the other 10% or whatever? So they're not interested in that in Washington. But if we had a grassroots type legislative program where we're like you said, in front of every congressional office in America every day of the week or whatever, putting pressure on them and letting them know if they're not going to support this, we're going to spend all our efforts to try to get somebody else elected to represent us, because we represent the community. And if that congressperson doesn't represent the community, then they shouldn't be in that position. And so we're not doing that right now. And if we were doing that, I think we'd be much more successful in getting our legislation passed. Right now, I'll give you an example. You mentioned the other thing you mentioned was the one about the arrow keys. Protect our letter carriers. The Protect Our Letter Carriers Act. There's another bill out there called the Postal Police Reform Act, and it would require the Postal Service to deploy the postal police officers to actually be out there on the street protecting letter carriers instead of just in the facilities protecting the real property of the Postal Service, which is what they're doing right now. One of the main reasons why we're not promoting that is because the Postal Service doesn't want us promoting that. So in DC, that doesn't sell good. But in every congressional district in America, that is going to sell good, because the letter carriers are going to talk to their congressmen and say, hey, this is what we need. It's not an end all be all, but having postal police out there would help a lot. They can coordinate with the local police. They can come out there and check on letter carriers. If you're having an issue with a customer out there that's unruly or making threats or something, they can go out there and talk to that customer and lay down the law. Having the postal police having our back would have a major impact on our safety out there. But we're not pushing that because the Postal Service doesn't want us to, and we're not going to be able to get that bill passed in Washington, D.C. because of the way our structure and our legislative program is set up. Now, if you're going to go into doing that, you do have to look at what is the structure of the state associations, how do you organize that? So right now we have these liaisons to every congressional office in America, but basically the state associations pick their own liaisons. I think those liaisons have to represent the NALC, but you have to have a good working relationship with those state associations. And I would use the regional offices. Regional offices have, anywhere between 1 and like 6 states. And so you work with those state associations as part of those regions and say, okay, who are our liaisons? What are they doing? Do they have a good relationship with that office? Where do we have friends? Where do we not have friends? And go, office by office and make sure we have that program, but utilizing and activating all of the members that live in those congressional districts. At the very least, we don't even send out, if we have someone we're trying to get elected, we're not even sending out a letter to our own members in that congressional district saying, let's support this person, or we're not supporting this person, we're going to support somebody else. We don't even do that. And we got these members, we could have yard signs, letter carriers for so-and-so within this district. We really don't have a grassroots legislative and political program like we should.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what's driving me nuts about it, because I mean, I know plenty of people like certain state boards, and they just meet once every 6 months. There's, and they just say, well, this is what's going on. And they nod their heads, and then they go home after like a 1.5 hour meeting, and they don't meet again for 6 months. And like, there's no in between. Now, granted, there's some state associations I've heard very good things about. I see they're always doing stuff. They're actually lobbying their senators and representatives, which is good. Like, meet with them, and it's all of them, which I think is a good thing. But I like the Teamsters do that too, and I see the Teamsters do that.
We're a national union. The National Association of Letter Carriers. It's just like the branches. Branches are independent entities. State associations are independent entities, but they're all affiliated with the National Association of Letter Carriers. So you really have to build up. And, I only have one state, the state of Illinois. But believe me, as the business agent, I have a good working relationship. I try to have one with all the branches. I would say I'm about 98% successful on that. But I definitely have a good relationship with the state association in coordinating those activities, because at the end of the day, the National Association of Letter Carriers has these goals of what we're trying to accomplish. And we have to work with those state associations and those branches. The branches we're working with enforcing the terms of the contract. What is their grievance process? That kind of thing. But the state association, same thing. What is your legislative program? Who do you have as a liaison? Those should be discussions between the national union and those states and those branches, because we all should be working together.
And getting them out to meetings. I mean, how many carriers aren't even positive they have a state association, what it does, and getting those members of state associations out to the normal carriers. Again, as you said, there's how many of us? We have a really strong army, and add in your friends and family. And if those state associations are going to the average carriers and talking to them to push.
Hey, Capone, I'm here. I'm the reason why you see this crazy background. I'm at the Knights of Columbus. So down below me is the branch 1870 meeting. I was there before I came on this show. The guy who's our state president is in branch 1870. That's one of the things that I've been talking to him about is, hey, your state needs to get out to the branches and involve all of the letter carriers in whatever our legislative program is. And, he's open to that. So we're, working together. I let him know, hey, I'm going to give you a list of all the branches when their meetings are, so that you can have you and your officers go out to these meetings and talk to the carriers about, what our program is and what we're trying to accomplish and all that. So that's just an example. That's how we work together. And I think the whole union needs to do that going forward.
Absolutely.
Well,
actually, speaking about the political aspect and stuff, we had Bobby DeMartin from Branch 34 on recently, and he was talking about resolutions in regards to helping the Postal Service. He had talked about innovative think tank. You take people from the post office, people from the union, people from the communities to come up with ideas to help save the post office. Ideas ranged from postal banking, being in charge of one-day mailing, that we have supplies on and we can box them up and ship them out. What are your thoughts on getting more innovative when it comes to saving the post office and thinking outside the box?
Yeah, I mean the old theory of management can manage or mismanage. Either one is fine with us. We just file our grievances. That's out the window because they're mismanaging us out of our future and our livelihood. So we don't want to leave the future of the Postal Service up to the Postal Service, or at least up to Postal Service management, right? So we gotta, we have to have our own plans and our own agenda, and those are some good ideas. And there's a lot more ideas out there. So how do we harness those? How do we lay those out? How do we get support for the ideas that that we want to have that would move the Postal Service forward? Because a strong Postal Service is good for us. We're the central part of the United States Postal Service. We're the connection between that network and those communities. And if you have a strong Postal Service, that's going to lead to strong, good jobs for us, and that kind of thing. That gives us a lot of leverage and bargaining power.
Yeah, and bouncing on the getting the information out and all that stuff, going along with the lines of resolutions. One of the resolutions my branch is working on, I think I talked to you about it, in getting these ideas out, is getting the resolutions to the members before they go to the convention. A lot of times you go into these conventions, things are moving so fast and you don't really get to have that much open discussion or with your members. If there's a resolution coming to the convention, I want to hear the ideas of my members in my branch, because hey, maybe I like it, but majority of my branch doesn't, and they can give me ideas of why they don't, that changes my idea. So would you support a resolution, and what is your thoughts on that idea of making these resolutions that we will be voting on at the conventions available to us sooner, so we can actually look into them and get a gist of our members' feelings and really investigate them?
Yeah, I like it. I mean, the resolution. So the constitutional amendments by law have to be in 60 days prior to the start of the convention. Resolutions, if they're going to be printed in the book, would be 60 days prior as well. So with that 60-day time frame, you say, okay, I received these resolutions. Now, keep in mind, a resolution can come at the convention. It doesn't, per the Constitution, it doesn't have to be 60 days ahead of time, but 60 days ahead of time gives the NALC the ability to put that out. So you could say it's going to be put out immediately up on the website, or you could have some type of formulation like that. What I'm going to do, our campaign, taking it a step further, without any resolution, we're going to be soliciting all of these resolutions from individuals, from branches, all over the country. We're going to try to create a kind of a landing spot for all of those resolutions, and then figure out a way to kind of organize them and disseminate them, so all of the branches can start talking about that stuff now, building up to the convention in August of 2026. What are the ideas out there? Resolutions, constitutional amendments. I want to send out a packet to every branch in the country, and I don't know if we got to do it digitally or we'll send out the hard copy or whatever, but at the next union meeting, the October to November to December to January, you got a lot of months to actually discuss all of these resolutions and ideas that are out there. And then when you send delegates to the convention in Los Angeles 2026, those delegates are going to be prepared to represent your branch's opinion about those particular resolutions. So I like it. I love it, man. And the more discussion and transparency we can have, it's just so it's much better for the union as a whole. One, you're going to get better results because you're going to have more discussion. You're going to have more people involved. But also, that's how you build participation. Participation makes for a strong union. If people feel like they have a say, and they actually do have a say, then it makes people want to participate in that union, and it makes it so that your union is stronger because everyone is involved. But they're also bringing their ideas, which is helpful. It's something you might not have thought of. I might not have thought of. Somebody else comes and has that idea and brings that perspective. That always helps. I also hope that this time in 2026, we're going to live stream the convention. Anybody can go as a guest to the convention, right? Anyone can go as a guest. You don't even have to be a member of the NALC to go as a guest.
You could be a postmaster, right?
Exactly. So why
you
the
could
hell?
You could literally be a postmaster
Yep.
at the NALC convention. Whereas I was at the Boston convention videoing people making speeches. I was videoing Tyler Vassler. I was videoing other people from BFN. And Rolando gets on the speaker saying, hey, no recordings of anything. We don't want this out in the public. It's like, dude, our enemy is sitting right next to us.
Yeah.
Like, if this was the mine workers in the 1800s, someone would get hit in the head with a baseball bat by allowing management into a convention.
Yeah, I look, it
Bring
to
back
me,
1890.
it's not even a question of management or whatever. It's like, look, members of the union should be able to participate with their union, and the supreme body of the union is the convention, and every member of the union should have access to it. Even if you wanted to limit it and say you're going to have a live stream through the members only portal of NALC.org, I'm okay with that. Like, if you want to make some restrictions, okay, but a member of the union shouldn't have to travel to that location to have access to the convention. Every member should have access to the convention. We have the technology now.
And that brings up a good point that another one I talked to you about is where we're losing these smaller branches that cannot make it to these conventions.
They can't
cannot
afford
make
it, right?
to Rallies. I have a rather smaller branch, and we're getting more involved than we had in past years of going to these things. But these smaller branches have an issue, and it doesn't seem like there is much attention on trying to get them there. I had run past you a resolution of starting a scholarship fund or something in regards to that to get those voices heard. The idea of these conventions is to get all these voices heard. How many voices are we missing out that can't make it? I forget what Boston was, but it wasn't. There were a lot of branches that didn't make it.
Well, I think there was like 650 branches at the convention in Boston. And there's like 1,500, probably at the time, there was more like 1,600 or 1,700 because there's been some mergers, branches. So you look at it and you're like, okay, and it's not even counting the level of representation, right? Like, you know, if you can send 20 people from your branch, you might be sending 10, 12, 14, whatever. So I think that you're seeing, and the cost, I forget who it was, brought up, it was somebody was on the show. You talking about the Mic Drop Monday shows. And the state president in Louisiana was on the show, and he just kind of came out of the blue with a question. He's like, dude, why does it cost so much to go to these conventions? Like, why do we do them in the most expensive place in the world and limit the ability of members to go? And a lot of the branches have brought that up, that the costs are just really high. I was talking to someone from the Carpenters Union yesterday. They own property. They own 4 hotels in Las Vegas. Might be.
I'll jump in. I was in the Carpenters Union.
Yeah. Did you guys always go to Vegas?
They have a training center. All the carpenters, apprentices, they go to Las Vegas and you train. And not just the apprentices, but like directors and people, staffers, they go to Las Vegas.
Union training.
Yeah, union training. And they picked Las Vegas because that's one of the cheapest places for flights.
Right.
And the next cheapest is hotels. So the next thing they did is, hey, we have a huge bank of money. Let's invest it. So they went and bought hotels.
Yeah, that's what the guy was telling me.
So your union dues, the Carpenters Unions, the dues, they invested into a hotel in Las Vegas. So when you fly to Las Vegas, you're staying for free because your union dues pay for it. You get free training because your union dues pay for it. And it's very, very small compared to other places. So I think it's one of the best things I've ever witnessed inside the labor movement. And when I was in the Carpenters Union, I was very proud of that. And then you come to the NALC and I hear 2030 we're out in Honolulu for our convention. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, who could afford to go to Honolulu for a convention?
Oh my God. No.
I was there in 2002. We were in Honolulu. We were like, it was like 4 of us in like a closet. But hey,
Right.
we got it done.
It should be like, I mean, I think something Bama was saying, it should be in like Gary, Indiana, or like Missouri, somewhere in the middle, somewhere just in the middle of the country, Missouri, Minneapolis, right there, or like Chicago, like just in the middle. It's going to be a cheap place, like just all it's going to be.
We should link up
We're not trying to get this to be a fully, I mean, South Dakota, right? No one, the whole state delegation of South Dakota did not go to the last convention, if I remember correctly. I mean, granted, it's a largely rural area, but like 200 carriers from South Carolina had no voice at that. And that's not a Democratic union. That's a problem. And we're sitting on how many millions? Hundreds of millions?
So, Caref, I want to get you on this one. In the 1990s, there was a bunch of unions jumped together and formed the Labor Party. And what they did was they not merged, but they got all their union conventions together at the same time. I believe it was in Ohio. So you had the union conventions, and then they had a Labor Party convention for a forming party. And as we're seeing right now with Trump attacking the working class, no one can deny it. President Donald Trump is attacking federal workers. And if you're still asleep at the wheel, postal workers, you are a federal worker. And if you're still in denial, let's roll it back. You are a fucking worker. And your fellow cousins, family members, friends, coworkers, and neighbors, they're getting attacked. And not everyone, it's people like, oh, elections have consequences, right? But that's such a cop-out because only 7 states actually determine the president. You only have the swing states. So if you're in a blue state or red state, your vote actually doesn't matter. So as we see on Donald Trump's second term, and he's redoing what he did the first term, going after labor unions. And if you are president of the NALC, you will have a seat on the executive council of the AFL-CIO. Do you think the United States labor movement is ready to break away from the Democratic Party and form a Labor Party?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one. I don't want to 100% disagree with you, but I don't know if we, as a union, that's the direction we want to go in. I do think we shouldn't be beholden to any party, particularly the Democratic Party. You know, if you're with us, you're with us. That's great. Republican Party, if you're with us, you're with us. That's great. I've never believed in, being like, like a lot of people think the unions and the Democratic Party are, hand in glove or whatever. I've never believed that. But
nope.
To form our own party, you got to invest a lot of time and resources and this and that. I mean, we're a union. Do we want to become a part of the voting system, kind of say, or do we want to just say, hey, whoever's running for office, we're going to hold them accountable. Either they're our friend or they're not our friend. I would prefer to do that versus forming our own party with our own candidates and all of that. But, there's room for a lot of discussion on that. I don't know, but I wouldn't make a commitment to that if that's what you're wanting me to do here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good topic of discussion though, for sure.
Yeah. I think because, I mean, if we look at the PAEA, the Postal Accountability and Enforcement Act, it was signed under George W. Bush. That was the pre-funding mandate. Because don't worry, watch everybody. I'm going to attack the Democrats now too. Because both parties have been screwing us over for 20 years. And it was Obama was actually calling to cut Saturday delivery. And this was 2013. They did not address the pre-funding. We were bleeding money and the Democrats had a supermajority. They didn't stop the attacks on us. They kept them going. I mean, to give credit when credit's due, President Biden did actually repeal it about 17 years later, and he did enshrine six-day delivery into law, which was a good thing. But unfortunately, they didn't fix the problem of the issue, like our funding of vehicles. I mean, they did some things, some measures, but the workers, I mean, the Labor Party came out, it was 1994 after NAFTA got signed into law. A lot of those unions knew this was it. If you go to the unionized Midwest, all the manufacturers, they knew they were going to be decimated by NAFTA. That's why the Labor Party started. The federal workers, they should be pushing this hard because this is it for them. If they lose their union rights, which is already happening, I think there's a major push for a workers' party or a labor party, whatever you want to call it. But it would have to be, and I agree with you, Mike, since it'd have to be broad, you need more people like the UAW and everything, because we alone, individuals will vote third party, but we need like a fund, and the unions have millions of dollars that they can put towards a workers' party to do something like that. But going forward with elections too, I hear that you are not, because I might have been talking about it, but ranked choice voting is something that comes up quite a bit. I think it's a fine, folks. If you want to go on to the Next Generation podcast, type in ranked choice voting. It's a great episode hosted by yours truly. But I think it's something that some people are saying that people need to drop out of the race because we could split the vote. And we don't want to Renfroe in. And I think everyone can agree we don't. If you're listening to this podcast, you're probably not a fan. But I feel, and I think many people feel, that that's inherently a very undemocratic thing to tell people don't run for office. We're 300,000 people. Nothing against you or James Henry, but it'd be great if we had like 7 people running for, like, it'd be great to have tons of people running for office, because even in local elections, we have a lot of uncontested races because people don't want to split the vote. But, what are your thoughts on, I know you've been pushing ranked choice voting, like I just saw on your website that you have ranked choice voting for the raffle, but are you a fan of it? Do you support it? And what are your hopes for ranked choice voting?
Yeah, the answer is yes. And if we get the Constitution changed this time, the constitutional amendments come up on the second day of the convention, and then the nominations are on the third day of the convention. So it's possible we could change the rules and have a ranked choice voting system this time around, or maybe next time, or whatever. But I think that everything you said, I agree with. I'm not going to repeat all that. I think it makes for a more democratic union. The situation we're in right now, and John alluded to it, we don't think the president is popular. There's very unlikely that President Renfroe would receive 50% support from the members of the union, but it's still possible he can get reelected, just because the incumbent always receives a certain number of votes. The incumbent, his picture's in the postal record every month or whatever, name recognition, people aren't paying attention, whatever, for whatever reason, the incumbent always gets a certain number of votes. And if you split all the rest of the votes, somebody could win with 30, 35, 40% of the vote. They're not representative of the majority, but they still win the election. We definitely don't want that. But we also don't want the alternative. We don't want the alternative, which is that, people are not allowed to express their, who they want. It's a democracy. We're a fraternal organization. We should all be working together to make sure that everyone's message is getting out, and that the members of this union have as many choices as possible and are able to pick who they want, specifically for president, because that's the most important position, but for every position that is going to be up for choice in 2026 and, every 4 years. So yeah, I do. We kind of wanted to kind of promote the idea a little bit. So we have 4 raffle prizes, and on your raffle ticket, you can say number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. And so the way it'll work for the raffle is not exactly the same as an election, but the way it'll work for the raffle is, if your ticket gets pulled first and that's your first choice, you get your first choice of prize, right? So then you pull another ticket and you look at that ticket and you say their first choice has already been picked, right? That person got that prize already. So then you go to the second one, and then you go to the third one and the fourth one. So anyway, it just makes sure that a person getting in the raffle is going to be able to win the prize that they want to win. And ranked choice voting for us would make sure that at least the person who's elected has the support of, at a minimum, 50% of the members that vote. So I love it as well. And you've definitely definitely taken the lead on it, and I appreciate that. And that will be one of the constitutional amendments that we'll be putting out in that packet and proposals, and hopefully a lot of the branches will get on board with that, and then we can enact it at the convention in 2026, and that'll be the way that we'll conduct that election.
Awesome. All right. Good. I got 2 more questions, and then that's it for me. Then after that, for all of us in the audience, I think it was like 30 or up to 37 people now. If you just want to write stack, we're going to try to call on you in order. Oh, good. John's taking stack there.
How long do you guys want to go here?
As long as you want to be here.
I don't know how long. I don't know. Like, I'm at the.
It's very hot in that. I want to emphasize mine is glistening. Very
but the heat,
much.
I don't mind, because it's not over 100, and I got water. Yeah. So, but at some point they might kick me out of here. I don't know. So that's okay. My time frame.
All right, perfect. Until the KFC kicks you out. All right. So one thing I have too, the new the new NEEP, the new employee retention mentoring. NEEP. That's it. Yep. I just want to say that a lot of people right now. So those of you who don't know about it, if you were a steward or an assistant steward like me, you should have received a training. Your union president and management were both told this was supposed to happen. Myself and a lot of other people in my local and other locals did not get this training at all. No one told us about it. It was Capone had brought it up to me. That's how I learned about this training. And the problem is now, I have a friend of mine, they're a new hire, and the limitations, like, first 4 weeks, you're limited to 8 hours, 5 and 6, 10-hour limitations. On day 3, they were told you're going to be working a 12-hour day. this is wrong. It's supposed to be a limitation of 8. And then I had to go, I mean, you're on probation, so don't tell the steward. The steward didn't know anything in their office. This is, I'm concerned because anecdotally, when I ask stewards, half don't know about this. If you were elected as president, how would you fix this, and how would you roll this out more effectively? Because I don't know how bad this has got, but like this is a problem. If we have these new rules for new hires, and we're trying to keep people, but we're in trouble. So how could you try to fix this if you got elected?
Well, I don't know if we should have negotiated for this thing, honestly. I don't know if this, obviously it helps the Postal Service because they're hemorrhaging a lot of money on retention and having to keep hire more and more people and the costs associated with that. But what are our people getting out of it? It's unclear to me. Obviously, there's certain things that if they don't happen, we can file a grievance. But for example, I mean, you have new carriers that want to work more hours. And then you have full-time regulars. I mean, this is one thing that really kind of eats at me. You have full-time regulars that are not on the ODL that are going to be forced to work while that new employee gets sent home. I mean, you know, what happened to becoming a regular and having rights, and what happened to seniority and all that? So I don't like that. I don't like the whole probationary period. I don't like the fact that no matter what, management can just be unreasonable and separate that person. And so we're over there mentoring that person and trying to get them to do the job the right way, when in fact, if their supervisor is telling them, all I care about is how fast you go, all of that mentoring and all of that training and stuff that we're doing, trying to teach them how to do the job the right way, it don't mean squat, because the person who has the power is the supervisor and the manager and the postmaster, and they have the right to terminate them without cause for no reason whatsoever in the first 90 working days or 120 calendar days, or in the first 90 days for a career employee. So I don't even know if we should be in this thing, but to the extent that we are, obviously we want to enforce the rules and file grievances when not. I mean, one thing we can do, I think, we'll see how it plays out, but if somebody is terminated without cause in the first 90, 120, and they didn't follow the terms of the NERP, we can file a grievance and say, you know, had they filed the terms of the NERP, they would still be an employee, and, you know, maybe kind of try to do an end around on that grievance. But I don't know if we'd win that or not. I don't know what the result will be on that. We don't really have any language that says that. So I don't know. But anyway, we'll see how it plays out. And we'll, you know, I think the main thing is let's learn the lessons from it. Maybe we can improve upon it. You know, maybe we can do something better or a little bit different next time, you know, that kind of thing. So we'll see how it plays out.
Okay, that's good. I know Badmouth had a couple things on that too, so maybe you'll come in on that. And that's it for me. One question, Mike Pinto from 25. He's in the White Mountains of New Hampshire, so he couldn't. The reception was really bad, but he asked me to ask you this question from Mike in 25. If elected, what specific steps will you take in your first year to increase transparency between national officers and the membership, especially regarding contract negotiations and grievance handling data?
I think that the executive council meetings, you know, maybe we don't do like a C-SPAN or something, but at least the members should have access to the minutes. I think that would help. I think that transparency for contract negotiations is a no-brainer strategy-wise, but it's also, I think we owe it to the members that we represent. I mean, if you're paying me to go negotiate a contract on your behalf, you're going to know every single thing that's going down because I work for you. So I would do that no matter what. But I also think that it helps in the contract negotiations because you get in there and you tell the Postal Service, hey, everything you say is going to be public. So, you know, you want to throw out a lowball offer, I'm going to go back to these letter carriers and let them know, you know, what you're talking about. If I'm being reasonable and you're being unreasonable, I'm going to go back and tell them. And I think that gives us more leverage in contract negotiations. I'm not just going to tell the members of the union. I'm telling the media. I'm telling Congress. I'm telling everybody. No doubt about it. I think transparency helps us in contract negotiations and really doesn't really hurt us at all. So I don't know. I'm sure there's some more ideas. He mentioned something about the grievance process. I don't know how we can be more transparent with that or how that would help. But if there's an idea out there that would help, I'm all for it.
All right, awesome. Capone or Murphy, do you have anything else for them? All right. So now Murphy, you want to keep stacking calling people for this one? Okay, cool. So I'm going to allow people to unmute themselves. Please don't make me regret this.
You're gonna.
All right.
The first
Good luck,
person
brother.
up. The first person up is. I'm gonna murder this name. Sorry about this. Abraham. Oh wait, do I have to unmute them? Is that how we do?
No, you can unmute yourself. That should be an option. There we go.
Hey, you can just call me Abraham.
He did.
My name's all right. Yeah. Hey, what's up, Mike? I remember you. I seen you a couple weeks ago in New Orleans. So I'm gonna ask the same question. Abraham Ascar from Branch 4323. I've been a letter carrier for 19 years, and also I'm a U.S. Army veteran. Brother Mike, will you as NALC President speak out against the genocide and starvation of innocent men, women, and children in Gaza? Silence in the face of human suffering is not an option. Will you publicly call for an Israeli ceasefire and an urgent delivery of food and aid into Gaza like other labor leaders such as Mark Diamondstein of the APW have done?
Yes, and like I told you at that Branch 124 meeting, I think we need to stand with the communities that we serve. And we have a lot of our people that are, out there in these communities that are Palestinian descent. And, to the extent that we can help people out and to the extent we can represent the people in these communities that we serve every single day, I think we should do that. And to the extent that, we take a strong moral position about something that's happening out there in the world as a labor union, civil rights or workers' rights, I think we should take those positions.
Cool. Thank you.
Subject to the direction of the delegates at the convention, right? But in between conventions, the president speaks for the union.
All right. The next person up on our chat is Jamie.
Hi, Mike. Jamie Scala. I'm President Branch 1081 in Ames, Iowa. My question for you is the 1260 rule. Supposedly we were supposed to get paid automatically. And I know there's a lot of chatter online right now about how that's going to play out. And I just am not sure what to tell people when they're asking me. I don't know if you've heard anything more.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well, I've heard the chatter. So, I mean, everyone's talking about it here in my region as well. So the Postal Service, we entered into an agreement with the Postal Service, M number 2009. And that agreement basically says that any disputes about the hours or the money they're supposed to pay. Well, it says that they're going to program the system so it'll be automatic. Everyone will receive an automatic additional 50% if you work past 12 hours in a day, 60 hours in a week going forward. But in the meantime, there's this temporary process where the Postal Service provides us with a list. They send it, our NLC headquarters sends it to the regional offices. Regional offices sends it out to the branches. The branches can look through that list or pass it out to the carriers, and everyone can look to see if those hours were accurate. The first problem we had was they weren't recording the hours accurate. They weren't counting leave hours. They don't want to count holiday hours. They said only work hours would count toward that formulation. I think we got the leave hours squared away, but I don't know about the holiday hours. That still may be a dispute. But the other thing was they promised us that they would give us a list of the hours and the money that was owed. And then the very next pay period, they would implement that. And they would have a person in every district that would be responsible for, putting in those payments for all of those carriers that they owed. And they completely dropped the ball on that. And so what we should be doing is filing a national grievance. And we should be saying, okay, who are the people in every district? Are they doing this full time? How many hours are they dedicating to this? And why is there a delay in making the payments? Individuals have come forward and said, hey, I want to file a grievance. Individual branches, individual carriers. I didn't get paid the additional 50%. I think those grievances are going to be tough to win because it's modified by that language that we as a union negotiated in M number 2009. So I don't know about the grievances, but obviously you file a grievance. If you get someone to agree to a settlement, those payments will be made on the next pay period or whatever settlement, you can enforce the terms of that settlement. But if they come back to you and say, I'm not going to settle that because the parties agreed to how they're going to handle that in M 2009, and you got to send that information to your NELC headquarters. If they tell you that, I don't think we're going to be able to pursue that grievance, and I don't think we're going to be able to win it. Now, maybe we got to go outside of the post office. Maybe we got to go to like Department of Labor or something and say, hey, they're not paying us. You know, that we calling that the super penalty rate. They're not paying us the super penalty rate that they're supposed to be paying to us. You know, our contract says that as of July 1st, they were supposed to be paying us at the super penalty 2.5 times the rate of pay, and they're not doing that. So, you know, maybe we can make some headway that way. So.
And that was something me and you had talked about before the podcast, Mike,
Yeah.
in regards to, I was trying to figure out if we could go Article 19 and argue violation of federal labor laws and wage theft, or, you know, get the exact federal labor law, because they're knowingly withholding the money. So they know that Mike Caref is owed 6 hours at super penalty. They're knowingly not putting it through. And then another pay period. And I believe I had heard it was 20% were paid out. None in my region.
Yeah, I think something like that. It was.
So they're not upholding their end, and going through Article 8, as you say, presents an issue because of M 2009, because it doesn't give a time frame.
Right. It doesn't say the payments. They told us verbally that you know it'll be made in the next pay period, and then they didn't do it. But it's not. There's no language in M 2009 that says that.
Yep, and then saying that it's nationally issue when National's not doing anything about it. National seems very happy with, you know, it's going to get paid out. Going another angle, like I had said, Article 19, or going as far as federal labor laws going to the feds, kind of seems like the angle. I mean, unfortunately, some people say it's not a ton of money here and there. It's a half pay, but it's our money. And that's the situation. And we deserve it when we worked it. When that paycheck comes in, we should get paid what we worked during that time frame.
Man, the principle of it, no matter how much money is it, look, we enter into these negotiations on a contract. We go back and forth for 2 years, and you sign your name to something, and then you don't do it. We're never a priority for the damn Postal Service.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? The words in the contract got to mean something. I don't care how minimum it is. You know, those terms need to mean something. And whenever the Postal Service doesn't follow the terms that they agreed to, we should be filing a national grievance. We should be raising bloody hell. And we should be shaming them. We should be, you know what I mean? Like, we should be pulling out all stops. And if they didn't agree to it, like, we're not going to say you should pay us $100 an hour. I think we should make $100 an hour, but that's not what we agreed to. We agreed to what we agreed to, right? But give us what you agreed to. That should be a given. You know, that should happen automatically.
Question two, if I could piggyback. I mean, if you're all the contract people, but could it be if the union is supposed to? I mean, National should be filing a grievance, and if they're not choosing to file, could that be? And I don't want to bring up charges, but could that be a duty of fair representation? Because I feel like aren't you obliged to file a grievance if the contract is being violated, but you opt not to? I mean, like I said, I know where this is going, but someone screwed this up.
I don't know. You can make that argument, but it's not specifically spelled out in the duties of the president or anyone really in the Constitution, and I don't know. You know, I think that goes back to you elect people and you trust them to work on your behalf, and you know
what they're doing.
Situations.
Well, and updating the rules too, the Constitution. I had talked to a senior carrier, and I had mentioned, like, there seems so many loopholes and so many issues that have not been corrected after 50 years of the union. And he said, it's because we had Sombrado. He goes, we had Sombrado for so long, and there was so much trust in Sombrado, and Sombrado was great. We don't have Sombrado anymore. And those holes and those issues in the Constitution that we're seeing now is because we have to actually keep track of stuff and worry about stuff, whereas a lot of time it was put on Sombrado. Sombrado was going to do it right, and we were all set.
That, and I think also the Postal Service, like I was saying earlier, revenues went up, you know, all throughout the 70s, 80s, 90s. You know what I mean? Like, there was more of a pie to pull from. There was, you know, it was easier to make. Now, like, everyone's tight. The Postal Service is pulling back. They got different priorities, you know, whatever. But I mean, there's so much harassment now. There's so many supervisors. The Postal Service has changed drastically in the last, you know, 10 years or whatever. But it matters who represents us as well, I'm sure.
Cool. To keep this going, the next person up is Carrie. Carrie, you still on this Zoom?
Yes, I am. I certainly am. Hi, my name is Carrie. I'm from San Pedro and I'm in branch 1100 Garden Grove. My
How you doing,
question
Carrie?
for you, thank you. And thank you for being on this program and thank you for accepting my question. Um, my question is, um, I look at other unions and I feel that we are unique in that we have no need to recruit members. Members can only be in our union or no other. And so we're not under threat of another union coming in and sweeping up our members and rating. And I feel that that changes the character of our leadership to where they are not organizers then. They don't have to go out and organize. Instead, they're bureaucrats. And I think that is a problem for us if we want to go forward and accomplish, defend ourselves against privatization. We need to have a public presence. We need to be out meeting with other union staff, and we need to be out having rallies that mean something other than just us talking to ourselves about internal issues. And I look at other unions, like for instance, the teachers union in my city, they hire paid staff to do organizing and outreach into the community. And I think that that's of great value. The organizing I see our union doing is around things like raising money for MDA, while our carriers are homeless, while our carriers have entry-level positions that pay less than McDonald's entry-level positions. And I would like, my question to you is, do you see that as a problem, and what changes would you affect as president?
Yeah, I don't know that you want to have like a competition. I mean, we negotiate a contract and it says that the National Association of Letter Carriers is the sole representative of all city letter carriers. I think the competition comes in that you have, like I was saying earlier, up to 390,000 Amazon delivery drivers. We only have like 200,000 city letter carriers. And I think the competition comes when the work goes elsewhere. So, I mean, I'd like to see going forward us get the work and therefore our union contract be honored by the people doing that work be the people that are represented by us under the union contract. I don't know about having competition, but I do agree with you. We should be out there organizing in the community. And you look at what's happening with the other federal workers. I mean, we're naive if we think they're not coming for us next. I mean, the VA, they stripped the VA workers of all of their contracts, all their union rights. We should be out at every single congressional district in America supporting those VA workers, TSA workers, EPA, whatever, and letting our Congress people know, don't fuck with us. Don't think you're gonna come for us next, because we're gonna be out there in the communities that we serve, and we're gonna get the support of everybody. We need to have a union, and having a strong union is good for everybody. It ensures that you have stable, good, reliable service in every community. Just like if you're a veteran and you have VA people that have union rights, that helps to ensure that you're going to have reliable service when you go to the VA for your medical treatment.
To piggyback on what Carrie said, she mentioned rating. For most people that don't know, rating is when you have, I'll say, an industry like the nurses union. The nurses, if you're a nurse, there's 2 or 3 unions that represent nurses. You have SEIU, and then you have the National Nurses United, and they're constantly rating each other across the country because one union gets very complacent and they don't really listen to the members anymore. They get comfortable. And I think that's what Carrie was saying with the NALC. The NALC is very comfortable right now because we have no threat of being raided. Like, we don't have the Teamsters knocking on our door. We don't have an Amazon union knocking on our door. Whereas with the nurses, if you're a union, if you're the NNU, the National Nurses United, and your union leadership starts getting lazy, SEIU comes knocking into your hospital like, hey, do you want to change unions? Just sign this union card. And it's called rating. So most people in the letter carriers have probably never been in other unions, or maybe nowadays you have, because this is a part-time job and most people come from other jobs. And I think that's what her question was, is like, As teachers out there, they feel that their duty is to represent the members, and the members are the community. And as Caref just said, like, we should be out there in the community, not just standing with workers, but, you know, standing with the community. So thank you. I want to jump over to Badmouth and Grigsby's on, but I want to jump to Adam Crosby because I don't think he's ever spoken before on this. So Adam, are you still here?
Yeah, we hear you.
We hear you.
Yeah, I'm fine. So I asked him a couple questions. Are you okay having me Badmouth and who was the Grimsby?
Yeah,
I'm just gonna hop in front of them.
Yeah.
All right, I've got a number real quick. So like you're gonna Manchester, New York. You'll be here in like week for this one.
Actually, Adam, we can't. Can you just shut off your video and ask the question? I think you're I think you're on low bandwidth.
Will do. Video's off. Is that better?
Better. Yep. Yeah. Very good.
Okay.
Now we hear you.
All right. So you're going to be in branch 210 in a couple weeks. Unfortunately, that's when I start vacation, so I won't be able to
Rochester?
ask you questions there. Yeah, Rochester. Yep.
Okay.
So first of all, if you don't mind, do you consider a two-tier pay scale a union or a anti-union policy?
Anti-union. Divides the workforce.
Okay.
A lot of other reasons.
I agree. Sounds good. So should table 2 have the same career earnings as table 1?
Everyone should be in table 1. We talked
Okay.
about consolidating the pay tables, and we put everyone in table 2 instead of putting everyone in table 1. We went backwards.
I completely agree. So as far as the numbers, I'm sure you're aware of the numbers, what that does to table 2. It's like $109,000 over the first 10 years of your career as a regular. It's I think when you were originally talking to Corey on one of his podcasts, you had mentioned, you know, they're basically the same. It's not a true. It's a you top out at the same, but that's a post office perspective, right? Because we on table 2, we're going to pay like $3,000 more at top pay towards FERS, and that'll be forever because of the difference in FERS contribution.
The 0.8 versus the 4.4%, correct?
Correct. So from the post office perspective, it's the same amount, right? It's the same cost to them. It's going to be $81,000 no matter what. But our take-home pay is massively different, so that'll be a problem.
I think for the post office, because the post office pays the remainder. My understanding, they pay the remainder into the first system. So I think that if we're paying 0.8%, that means they're paying like 14%. But if we're paying 4.4%, I think they're paying like 10%.
Oh, okay. Either way, yeah, I don't really care about the cost of the post office, unfortunately. What I care about is what the members get to take home. That's what matters.
That's a good point. It's a good point.
Yeah.
In table 2, if you started after 2014 as a career employee, you're making 3-4% less, no matter what your wage is. Yep.
Gotcha. So you consider the 2-tier pay scale anti-union policy. So if you don't mind, in 2013, 2016, or 2019, how did you come out against those contracts that, you know, kept either created or kept the 2-tier pay scale?
Well, 2013, we didn't vote on. January 10th, 2013. The 2016 one, I believe we did vote on that. You know, we got a lot of things out of that, so you kind of weigh things. I did definitely vote in favor of it. The last one, 2019, which we ratified in 2021, I was on the fence on that one, but I ended up voting for it because of the 2-year cap on the amount of time you could spend as a CCA, which was an advancement in the contract. But there was a lot of, you know, I remember putting out a newsletter kind of article thing. You know, there's pros and cons to this thing, and the membership ended up ratifying it like 96%, which kind of surprised me because I thought we could kind of go either way on that thing. But the membership was good with it, which was really, you know, contrast to this current contract, how we voted it down by such a large margin.
Yeah. So I'm surprised to hear you say you voted for the 2016 contract after saying it's an anti-union policy.
Yeah, because when you go into contract negotiations, you win some things and you lose some things. I mean, if
in my opinion, no offense, is any position that we take, any contract that we get that divides the union should automatically be shut down. Right? That we are a union first and foremost. Anything that divides that union, any anti-union policy is a non-starter for me. So
but
I
keep
also
in mind
heard
we already had it though. It wasn't like it was implemented in that contract.
no, it's just
already have it.
no, it's just allowed. It's not only allowed, it's voted for. It's agreed to. So in 2013, you said we didn't have a vote. So the same thing is happening right now, right? This contract went to we'll call it arbitration, whatever the hell you want to call it. And then, you know, it gets pushed through. You're seeing people speak out about it right now, right? You're seeing people talk about the TA getting forced through right now, similar to 2013, where we got a DOS award, we got an arbitration award, and still at that point, for some odd reason, no one stood up and spoke out against it, despite the fact that people are doing that right now on another arbitration award.
Well, I think what we're against is the process that our union took forward, because we think if our union would have had a better process, specifically our president, who's in charge of collective bargaining, if we would have fought, if we would have had a better process, a transparent process, and if we would have went to arbitration in the summer of 2023, we think we would have got better results. So, I mean, that's the difference. We're not necessarily against the process of what we did in 2012, which led to the DOS award. We don't like the results per se, but our union, you know, we felt like basically did as best as we could have. Whereas in this round, I don't feel that we did as good as we could have. I think we could have done a lot better.
Gotcha. So you're more against the process that this took instead of the results.
Yeah, the process led to the results. I think so. That's accurate.
Yeah, I think they're one and the same. So given all that, I think the you know, you're running a campaign here. The numbers speak for themselves. The majority is currently table 2 now, right? I think we're like 70%, something like that.
I think that's right.
So, yeah. So simple advice: if you want to win, represent the majority. So we focus on table 2. Make table 2 a priority. Make table 2. You know, give us what should have happened every moment after 2013 and put us on, bring us back to being a union where we're all on the same pay scale. We all have the same career earnings. Create the unity first. That's the first thing. And then everything after that, we can tackle workroom issues as a union. But as of right now, I don't think we're a union because we're split. We're divided because of a 2-tier pay scale, because of a career versus non-career pay system.
Well,
Those
Adam,
things are,
everyone, we've never all been paid the same amount. You know, that's never been the case. You know what I mean? Like,
no,
you're trying to make a stark
career
thing and
earnings are the
say,
same.
no, but I'm saying you can say career earnings, but the fact of the matter is somebody started off as a letter carrier doing the same job as another letter carrier and making a different amount of money. And we've always had a non-career portion of the workforce. You can only compare one contract to the previous contract and compare that contract to the circumstances out there. If you're going to say that every contract has to be 100% of what we want, then we'll never agree to any contract. We'll never be satisfied with any results. And we'll just be like, you know, angry all the time. You know what I mean? Like, I think there's such thing as progress, but it's not utopia either. So I think we have to focus on making this contract workable for today's letter carriers. And this contract doesn't.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I completely disagree. I understand what you're saying as far as like someone hired in 2008 versus 2010, they're going to have different pay scales, right? They're going to be on different parts in the pay scale. Their career earnings are going to be the same because the pay scale essentially accounts for inflation. Their career earnings are going to be incredibly similar. If you take 2013 versus 2010, their career earnings are going to be like $400,000 different.
Yeah. But I think the whole issue with 2013 is we agreed to it. So if we go into arbitration now saying anything about it's a dead on arrival, the arbitrator is going to just point to the fact that the NALC agreed to it. So that's
hey John, they're kicking me out of here.
Yeah.
I got to go.
All right.
All right, Adam. Thank you, Adam.
I know we have more questions, but we'll have to do it again.
All right.
Well, Griggs being badmouth, they got my number, so
yeah,
if they got something to say, don't just call me. But the rest of you guys,
I'll ring you, baby. I'll ring you.
There you go. There you go. But no, I think everyone. they're like giving me the the signal. So I don't want to be rude, but I gotta go.
All right. All right,
Mike,
Caref.
have a good
All right,
one.
you guys.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. All right,
Thank you.
bye-bye. Good night, everyone.
All right, as Caref logs off and
How do I
jumps.
log off?
I have no idea. You just close the Zoom.
Now I was talking to Tyrone here. He's gonna help me out. See, even he can't figure it out. It's not that easy.
I'm not sure how I take I'm the Mike Caref of this podcast, but I also do see a lot of similarities where I'm trying to figure out how to work shit. Like, God damn it.
Also, to Mr. Crosby, I'm used to being the one that it just burns the barn down. So that was pretty fun.
Badmouth, you and I got to have a chat sometime in person. The whole text doesn't communicate the anything as well as it should.
Oh yeah, baby, don't
You,
ever
me,
try
and
to
Ernest
talk to
Gonzalez.
real issues on text message. That ends a relationship real fast.
All right,
Trust me.
before I end the recording and end the live stream of everything, if anyone's listening still and they actually wanted to ask Caref a question, Mike Caref will be on Parcels of Knowledge with Joshua Schrum in the next couple of weeks. So if you want Mike Caref to answer your question, send Parcels of Knowledge an email with your question. And not only will he ask Mike Caref, but he's also having James Henry, who's also running for president, on his podcast afterwards. And his idea is to ask them both the same question if they're really juicy. So Parcels of Knowledge with Joshua Schrum, it's on your podcast platform, Spotify, Apple, and Podbean. Send them an email and let them know what your question is. So everyone else, thank you for listening to the Next Generation Carriers podcast. I'll let Chris and Capone close it out.
All right. To shamelessly plug something. So if you have an extra $1 in your pocket, you can go to nextgenerationcarriers.com/donate. If you feel like you got a buck, we could use it. Because we do host John is taking this out of his own pocket. I'm paying for my own Zoom, but if you want to help out that way, that'd be great. If not, it's fine. We'll live. But yeah, so we're gonna be back on is it next week? I think we're gonna have, I should have known this, had this prepared, but we have someone coming up. Oh, the Postal Minute. Greg, are you here? Crap, we're gonna plug it. But Capone and I are gonna be on Greg Similax from President Renfroe, the Postal Minute. It's another podcast. We're gonna be talking about the new employee retention program. I'm not a fan of how it was rolled out, but yeah, so we'll be on there, Capone and myself, because it's a Massachusetts thing. John Murphy thought he was too good for Massachusetts, so he moved to Florida. Sorry, John, you're not coming now. All right, deal with it. All right, anyone, Capone? You got.
I will say, Chris is a nice guy. I will say, donate the dollar. Donate the dollar. You like us? Listen to us. Donate the dollar. We can use it.
Yes.
Other than that, thank you for everybody showing up. Mike Caref was great to have on it. I don't have much to say. I've been doing the over 60 and I'm tired. And not getting paid for it as well. Not getting my 50 my 0.5.
You're working for nothing, basically. They're gonna settle for pennies on the dollar. You just worked for $4.25.
Yeah,
an hour,
I'm upset about the 12 and 60 rule.
Yep. Also, thank you. Oh, Sarah Renee, thank you very much for being here too. Thank you for being on. That was good opening too for being there. So yes, please, Mic Drop Mondays, their show. If you want to check them out, it's a great show. I do like it. Hablas Espanol. Let's see. I do Duolingo for 2 years, and you think I could speak more Spanish than this, but yeah. So Mike did a Spanish episode. We thought about doing it. The problem is I know the most Spanish between everyone here. And look how bad I just mangled that, Te gusta agua? See, there you go. That's right. That's as far as I know. So anyway,
another one. If you have any resolutions, contact us. We want to start hosting people to come on and talk about resolutions that they've passed or want to talk out. Get them out before the convention so people can talk them out, flush the ideas out, and try to get the resolutions going in. You can affect your union. That is one of the ways, resolutions and amendments. So if you have any, contact the email and we'll try to start getting.
We would love to have you on. Big time. Yes, really, because podcasts are educating our members is the best thing we can do. And definitely please do it. Like Bobby DeMartin, the most Bostonian DeMartin, which is really how it's pronounced. It's not like us throwing the accent on it. That's really it. But Damatin. Yeah, DeMartin. But yeah, so please come on. Definitely show Next Generation Carriers podcast at gmail.com. We have a way too long of a name for that, but that's okay. All right, awesome. That's all we got. So good night. We'll see you later. Keep up the